Hello, everyone. My friends call me Lucky. This is my first video tutorial in a long time, but I'm going to jump in here and I'm just going to walk you guys through a little bit about Bubble. So if you don't know what Bubble.is is, it is a great tool for creating web applications. And it's not really meant for the same purpose as something like Wix.com or Webflow.com. It's really meant for developers who want to have more functionality. Now, full disclaimer, I started programming in December, but I got my first platform up and running, and I have about 700 users right now. So I would call myself an intermediate in this platform. So if you see mistakes that I made or better ways to do things, leave a comment, and I'll try to make those fixes. So let's just jump into creating a new app because I feel like this is where you start. And this is also the first place that I lost direction when I first started because I really didn't know what I was doing. So we're going to make a fun little app. We're just going to call it Fun Directory. And I know you can hear my keyboard. I'm sorry. I'm also playing with a new mic and it's very sensitive. I don't really like starting with a template very much. So if you just say create a new app, we'll go from there. So when you first get in here, you get this little template from Bubble, and this is kind of like their little starting area. And you can either jump in and start using this, but honestly, I kind of like starting from scratch. So I wouldn't even recommend using all of this. I would actually recommend saying start with a blank page. It's kind of intimidating because when you first get in here, you may see this grid here, or you may just see, actually I'm going to go ahead and say close the assistant. It's not that helpful. We can change all of those settings later on. So here's the dashboard. Now yours may not look like this. So if you click on this little box up here that says grid and borders, there's a box that says show grid. We can uncheck that, and this may be what you see. And when you see this, you're like, okay, where do I get started? I've got all these buttons over here. I don't know really where to go. So I'm going to show you how to start. So the first thing I always recommend doing, go ahead and turn that grid on so you can kind of see what you're working with here. Now, there is responsive design, and you can certainly start with that. But honestly, when you're starting out, you really need to make sure everything just works, and then you can worry about design later. So we've got this here, and I just want to show a fundamental thing here. Anytime you click twice, whether it be on the background or when we get to containers or groups or any of that, you get this little pop-up. And this is kind of like your little detailed edit window. And so I'm going to take this trackpad away for a second. I'm going to get to my mouse. You're going to hear clicking, but it's really just a little bit better. So when we did that, you see we've got the index page. And if you know anything about website design, index pages first. We've got page title. Let's make this fun. What was it? Database directory. Fun directory. We're not going to worry about mobile version, type of content quite yet. We're just going to kind of keep this all the same. And really, honestly, I kind of keep the background pretty simple, but you'll notice that the width is 980 by 1325. And that's pretty small workspace. Now, we're going to be working with a fixed template. And so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and expand this to kind of the minimum that I see on older MacBook Airs, which is, it's really 1400, but people don't have it all the way out. So I usually put it up 1300. So here we are. We're starting with 1300. We've got this web application. We've got the index page. And the index page is where people will come to your website. So let's go ahead and think about what we need here. Well, right now, we've got options over here, but we've also got a preview button. If I click preview, this is a great website. You see this great website? This is awesome. I think we're done. I'm going to actually go ahead and turn off the video. Yeah, I know I can't hear you laughing, but I'm hoping you are. Yeah, there's nothing to this website. But you click preview and you can quickly see inspector and see if you have anything down here. Now, we don't have anything yet. But what's cool about Bubble is I can leave that open. So I'm going to leave the fun directory open. And I'm going to come over here and we're going to start adding some stuff. So you have the option of putting a header up here, which is reusable. And that basically, and by the way, you scroll up and down to get to these things. And this is going to get much bigger once we have plugins. But reusable are basically things you can use on every page, and it makes things easier. So we could put a header in here, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and build it from scratch so that you guys can see what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a box. And there we go. So we've got this shape here, and I'm going to rename it. And that's a best practice you want to definitely follow. So if you come in here and say, what is this? I actually do like to keep the word shape, and I'll say header bar. And again, I apologize for the clicks. So we've got the shape header bar here, and if I go to preview right now, it's going to refresh, and there you go. It's not great. Honestly, it's not great. I would probably work on it and maybe make it white for now. I can stretch that all the way across later on, but let's just make it white for now and just kind of move on. So we've got that up there, and I'm going to go ahead and add a logo. So let's make this, let's just put some text up here. Now this is not a graphic design creation, but let's just do it. Let's say it called Fun Directory. So I've got that up there, and I've got text fun directory. It's going to copy. If you don't put anything up here, it's going to copy what's in that box. And that's great. It's kind of convenient, but man, it can get super messy if you have a lot of stuff in that box. So I would recommend always relying on that. But if you come down here, you've got style, and you can kind of choose what you want. And there's pre-made styles. Heading 1, heading 2. It's pretty similar if you've ever dealt with any kind of web design or Photoshop or any of that. I don't like that, honestly, and so I'm going to go ahead and click in this little space, and notice how when I clicked on that and then the space, it actually kind of kept the basic settings. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change it. I hate black for some reason in the website. So I've got a fun directory here. I made it gray. You know what? I might make this. Let's make this 2 colors. Now, since we're here, I've got fun directory and I've got a rich text editor. You see that? So if we click that, I can come in here and I can kind of, let's see. I don't get a lot of options here. I'm just going to make this bold. Let's see if that adds anything. Nothing at all. All right. So like I said, I'm still learning too. All right. So we've got fun directory here. That's great. If we preview right now, there we go. Fun directory. That's going to be a hit website. So we've got this header bar up here. Did we name it? No. Yes, we did. We named that one, so we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and put like a little picture here. You know what? Let's do a button. Just a little button like Bob Ross. We're just going to paint a little tree. And I'm going to say button sign in. Now notice that this would copy up here, but it doesn't do it vice versa. So you have to come in here and say sign in. All right, so I've got sign in here. That's all great. That's a button. And I'm going to go ahead and preview it. And notice I keep previewing it. And when you're in the beginning, you really should do this pretty often because it kind of gets you used to it. Now, every time you make a change, if you're in the test environment, which is right here, it's going to need a refresh over here. So we've got sign in there. We've got fun directory. Let's go ahead and put an image on here. Now, I don't have any SVG images, so I'm just going to see if I can find images. Now, let me go ahead and give a warning. When you use their little image database, they're going to have some questionable images in here, and I've scrolled through here like that one. See, like I love Bubble, but I don't know who their developers are, but I can tell they're guys because that's the main picture. So let's just grab this little mountain thing right here. All right, so we've got that image right there. I can kind of stretch it out. It's not going to look great. We're just trying to show you for tutorial purposes. And notice down here we've got, where is it? Visible on page load, and that's important. You're going to notice that this box is very important for development because sometimes you'll have it on a page and there, now it's gone. So while I'm editing, I actually keep that on at all times. I might set conditions where it doesn't show up, but while I'm editing, it's in there. So if I go over here and do Command R, let's just make it easier. There we go. Now I've got a little background here. It's looking more like a real website. Now we're not going to do much with the stretch or the full width or any of that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to teach you a really basic concept that deals with containers. So containers are I would say the heart of the system. And it's the heart of a lot of web design. But when you do a container, this is going to contain certain things. So a certain type of data, a certain element, and it's so important because when you put stuff in here, the data that it calls, the way it's formatted, the way other elements interact with it, will all respond to containers. And so you've got to learn this concept. So I've got this container here. I'm going to go ahead and rename it right away. And I'm going to call this info container. And remember, naming this stuff is important. And you'll see up here it has type of content. We haven't really done much with the type of content, so I'm not going to do anything with that quite yet. But maybe in the next video, I'll start talking to you about the database, which is, pretty much very important. So I've got this right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little image. And let's just use that image search again. Let's search for something cool. So something fun. Hope something non-bad comes up. Let's see. This looks like we don't have a lot of diversity in these pictures. Let's just go ahead and grab this girl doing like an old school Apple ad. There she is. She's having fun with this Apple ad. Let's add some text here. Now, right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about a mistake I made. So notice I'm clicking in here. I'm saying, welcome to the fun directory. Well, the fun directory website. All right, I made a huge mistake when I first started, and that was that I focused a lot on making it look super pretty, and I did not realize how much browsers changed depending on who makes the browser. So like my website looked fantastic in Chrome and Firefox, and then I checked out Safari and it just looked awful. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some tips here. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. So I'm going to go ahead and make this basic, nothing there. And I'm going to make this, what is that website? My computer's being a little slow, sorry. I'm going to make this Arial. And you might be wondering, why would you make that Arial? That's such an ugly font. And truthfully, I don't disagree with you. But it works really well in most browsers. And if you put something like sans serif, like I did, or open sans, you're going to notice that a lot of websites just don't display it properly. And so you'll have random lines here. It'll be dragged down to the bottom and it doesn't look great. And there are tutorials out there that show you kind of how to adjust it based on the browser and all this stuff. But you know what? Easiest thing, let's just make it work. So I'm going to come in here and say, this website is a directory of, oh God, I cannot spell. I'm sorry, guys. Of fun. Join now and let's have some fun. Yay. All right. But as a designer, I don't really like this being the same font as that little attention grabber. So I'm going to make it non-bold, make it a little bit smaller. Notice how I'm doing this. This is all just basically same stuff as what you'd see in Word or Photoshop. So we got the fun directory, and hey, let's put another button in here. Now, the good thing about Bubble is everything that you add can be adjusted. So everything has standard buttons, right? Button here, and there's some benefits to using these. The truth is, they're great to go ahead and keep in there, but you're going to need to design your own styles. For now, I'm just going to say nothing again. And if you come down, you're going to notice you have Photoshop or Word options right here. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a background color. It's already got one. Let's make it a pretty teal color that doesn't do well with design. We'll make it bold. We might change the font a little bit. We're not going to. Let's name the button. Probably need to do that, right? So join now. And look, it comes up here, and that's important. Make sure it always does that. Now, I'm not going to get into workflows quite yet because I want this to be an introductory video. But you see that in just a few minutes, I have created a very basic website. If I click preview, it's going to come over here and reload. And there is the fun directory. And there are a lot more things that need to be done. But for now, that's how you get started. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the database. And then I'm going to talk about workflows. So I hope you enjoyed it.